is a pretty level-headed interview I'd like to share with you guys. The guy who doing the interviewing is Jeff Bennett. He pretty middle of the road, mellow, neutral pundit with Amy Walter and Tamara Keith. Um, I just think that it's time for us to break away from the tribalness because I believe it's harmful. It's I thought that it would expose the Democrats for who they are and the Republicans simultaneously, and then would force us to go a different route, to force us to go a different road, to have to do it. And it looks like the way things have been going, that most of us are being driven. Uh, Most of us Democrats and Black people are being driven closer to the party, clinging on because a lot of us have a lot invested. You know, years and years of voting, years of tears and sweat and hope and pray and belief. So it's a very emotional time. But let's get on with the interview. This is going to be a good one.
The almost government shutdown, narrowly avoided a few days ago, highlighted a Democratic Party debating how to govern in the minority. For analysis of that and more, we're joined now by our Politics Monday duo. That's Amy Walter of the Cook Political Report with Amy Walter and Tamara Keith of NPR. It's good to see you both.
Good to be here.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Indeed.
So many Democratic lawmakers continue to express their deep frustration with Senator Chuck Schumer for having broken with most of his party in allowing this Republican spending bill to pass, as the Democratic base is demanding a stronger resistance to President Trump and his policies. Here's some of what Democratic lawmakers had to say.
The idea that Chuck Schumer is the only one that's got a brain in the room and the only one that can think through all of the pros and cons is absolutely ridiculous. I think Senate Democrats have to sit down and take a look and decide whether or not Chuck Schumer is the one to lead in this moment.
Leadership. I wonder who's in the background pulling the strings. Who allowed such a brand new congresswoman to speak like that about the leader? To just come out. I mean, when you start venting that way publicly as a part of the Democratic Party, who's green lighted that? They ready for Schumer to get the hell out of there. But they should, at this time, and take this opportunity to shake up the party. Go to people and ask them to step down in a professional setting and in a professional way. And if they don't, primary them. You got to do what you got to do. Some of them mean recall them. If you guys know about medications and medical issues going on in some of their lives that make them incapable, especially the dementias and the onset of that kind of stuff, just do what you have to do to have them removed. Go to the governor and let them know, hey, we got folks or a congressman or a senator from your state who is, we need you to work with us. We need to go to we need to get this happening. Get them out of there. There's no reason to be that tribal and be losing. You have to give it up. You got to step away from that. Move forward. But circling the wagons right now around this Democratic Party is foolish. Nobody's willing to move. Nobody wants to change nothing. And Jasmine Crockett is coming in and being accepted, the brand new little darling of the Democrats. And she's excited with the bright lights and the microphones shoved in her face. They want to know everything she's thinking, what she ate for breakfast. That's just so interested in her. And it's very interesting that she has nothing to say directly that represents Black people. We are in a position now where it's kind of like a now or never place. The window may have closed, I don't know, but we need to try to get back open and do something. And we need our young senators and congresswomen and men to help us and not to be out there lying to us about the country being gone. If Donald Trump win, there will be no more United States of America. And then I'm sure, in a lower voice, as we know it, is in there somewhere. So when they replay it, and some of them don't correct it, and some of them don't qualify it. They just say shit and then expect it to never be challenged, for it never to come up again. That's impossible. It's impossible. It's going to come up again. It's millions of eyeballs being trained on you watching this. But Jasmine Crockett, somebody's giving her the green light to take him down. AOC, the green light, take him down. Old Bernie is out there. Yeah, it's a party that is imploding, and they are trying to still pick and choose who's got some of these people who they might really like, who might really be good people, who may have really contributed to the party at a particular time. Their time may have come and gone. It's time for them to step on. And it's not disrespect. It's what we need to do as a country. It's what we need to do as a race. It's what we need to do as a party. It's what we need to do as a society. And if the Democrats are going to be the other half of this duopoly, then they're going to have to change. There's no way you can keep losing and keep coming back with the same thing saying, hey, it's just that they don't get it. But this is it. This is the right answer. If it keeps losing, we'll never get to know. We'll never understand it. No coach would send his team in to lose a game only to go back the next week and do the exact same plays in the exact same order, the exact same speech. You have to change. A boxer, he's out there getting his butt kicked in the ring, and he goes back to his corner and they tell him, you're doing fine. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Do you think after the bell rings again, he's going to go back to that corner? He'd be like, man, I don't want to hear nothing they got to say. They're getting me killed in there. That's what the Democrats are doing to us. They expect the truth to come out of their words, and it's not. It's not going to happen. It ain't going to line up at no point.
Schumer has a very difficult job. I don't envy the job that he has. And the question is really for the members of his Democratic caucus. Are we willing to fight?
Do you think that Leader Schumer is the best person to lead your caucus in this moment?
Senator Schumer certainly can lead.
And the House Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries, has refused multiple times to say whether he has confidence in Senator.
Well, we need to have a vote if we have confidence in Hakeem Jeffries. We don't give a damn who he got confidence in. He's not going to be the one leading the Democrats into the future, and he is damn sure not going to be a strong representative for black people. So let's accept that and move forward.
Schumer's leadership. Tam, walk us through your reporting on this.
Right. So Democrats are certainly out in the wilderness right now. In particular, Washington Democrats are out in the wilderness. And they face a Democratic electorate that is defeated and depleted. And, if they had won in November, none of this would be happening. But
they'd be up there bragging, we saved you. So when we disagree with them, they'll be like, oh, do you want Donald Trump? Is that what you want? They'd be our heroes, and we'd be clinging on to their legs saying, thank you for saving the country. And they're being exposed, and it's very difficult to change your story, just like this lady is alluding to right now after you went so hard in the paint.
lost. And so they're now in this sort of cycle of trying to figure out what they stand for and how to say what they stand for. I did talk to a Democratic consultant today who said, if they would just focus on prices and the economy and that Republicans want to lower taxes on billionaires, they would be fine. But instead, there's a lot of focus on a lot of other things. And this is what happens when you lose. This is an entirely predictable outcome based on what happened in the election.
And Amy, Senator Schumer canceled a book tour that was set for this week. His office is citing security reasons. But
so damn, he ain't doing book signings. But right now wouldn't be a good time for Chuck Schumer to be selling books. And the book had to be planned and written a while back when he was a different Chuck Schumer. Right now, he could write a very good #1 bestseller, but it wouldn't be this book. It's going to have to be explaining his vote, how he arrived at it, some truths about the Democratic Party. It might be more beneficial for him to put out a book and just break it down. And even as one of the elderly statesmen, just break it down. Let us know what we need to do going forward, what's going to be in our best interest, and why have the Democrats been the way they've been to blacks? No one's cracked that code. Why is there such a brotherhood amongst the white congressmen and representatives who, when it comes to that question, why won't anybody answer why and who set this up, and why won't they relent? Why won't they back down and say, "No, we got to do something for the black"? It's like unspoken language going on, and I think it goes across aisles. I think. I might be wrong, but that's how I feel about it. It's hard to believe that it could just be a coincidence that everybody forgets to do anything for black people at any point from way back up to now. And anyone who's black in this country and you've given up, don't. Give up on the Democrats. Don't give up on yourself. Give up on that Democratic Party that's getting us nowhere, but do not give up on yourself. I think if we need to be around like-minded folks, we need to congregate. We need to have conversations with anybody who will listen and anybody who has some positive input. And it'll be a beautiful thing. It can move us away from that party over there, because we are in a little bit of a state of confusion. And so are they. But it's no reason for us to be over there confused with them. We can figure our shit out on our own. We don't need them, because it would only lead to more confusion.
In an interview he gave to the New York Times on Saturday, he said that he knew this would be an unpopular decision. He knew that there would be divisions over this. But the dissatisfaction isn't just about the vote, it's about the approach. Is that right?
Yeah, I think a lot of this was people feeling, especially on the House side, that they had been caught off guard, right? That there was an agreement that they were going in this together.
Yeah, but I think Schumer took the cowardly, easy way out rather than telling them right up front, hey, I'm going to vote with the Republicans on this and keep the government open, because, whatever he felt, just tell him. I felt like if I, vote with you guys and the government shuts down, that's what Trump wants, or, whatever his reasoning is, he should have said it. And everybody would have been on his ass. He would have probably not even been able to go vote. They'd have ripped his suit off of him and been going on and extending the vote. And it would have been more than he probably is ready to deal with. He's an old man. And he probably is like, you know what? I'm going to just allude to the fact in their eyes that I'm with them. And then I'm going to get in there and switch up and just do what I got to do and deal with the fallout later. Obviously, he thought this shit out. There's a big decision that he made, and he went like total 180. That's crazy, but it's no reason to be mad at him. It's a good opportunity for us to really understand the country. We haven't lost the country. The country's not going anywhere. We have a different president who, is president and a little different than some of the others. And that's all it is to it. We got to accept that fact and come down out of panic mode. It is very unhealthy to be, triggered in a heightened state for a long period of time. That's harmful. It's best to, bring in information, in smaller increments where you can handle it, read it, absorb it, and without it being forced down your neck. And it being dishonest and not true. That's going to cause a big problem. And it already has. We've been through an election that we lost, and we're just pushing ahead. We can't do this. And these are two very level-headed. And speaking of the one right here with the blazer on, I got all the respect in the world for journalists who really are, even keel right down the middle and reporting the news, not like me, a YouTuber. I'm a commentator. I'm commentating. This is my commentary. It could or could not be true. You could or could not agree with me. I get it, but this is my feelings. This is my lived experience. But these journalists here, it's rare that you really see three people sit down and have a wonderful interview and a wonderful, respectful conversation. And anybody who looks at this will be able to draw something from it, something positive, in my opinion. That's why I decided to bring it to Black Popcorn and share it with you guys.
Hakeem Jeffries on the House side kept all but one of his members voting no. Fundamentally, I think Schumer's biggest challenge at this moment is that he's fighting the last war. And you could hear it in this interview, which is he's citing examples from 2006 and 2018 when there was also a trifecta of Republican governorship, right? Republican president and Republicans in control of Congress, and that the same strategies that worked then are going to work now. The major difference, even with 2017, is that the Republican Party is so much more unified behind Donald Trump, and he is so much more popular in the districts and states where these members come from.
Meaning they can't vote against him because he'll go in their districts and tell their people on them and get them primaried and get them out of there. So you're kind of, as a Republican, like going along for the ride and not really taking too much flack over, because Donald Trump is driving the train and taking all the responsibility for this, which is, you know, kind of and he's going to take all the credit for it too. So, or whatever happens, this is Donald Trump shit right here, the Donald Trump show. But a lot of the Republicans are just kicking back, whether they agree or not. All they got to do is keep their mouth shut, let this old guy get done with what he's doing, and move on. And if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or early 60s, there's life for you after this. You can move on, but there's no reason to ruin your career by standing up and shaking your cane like Al Green did and getting all upset on the floor and ruining yourself. It wouldn't be worth it. You could live to fight another day and not make it sound like Donald Trump. We're gonna look back 4 years, 8 years, 10 years from now and just remember the rhetoric, and it just discredits you. It just discredits anybody who comes at you with a nuclear approach like that, and then it turns out to not be true.
So I think his fundamental misreading of the moment of this, just specific moment of this government funding bill, was that he thought, as did I think many House Democrats, that the Speaker would be unable to keep everybody in line because, again, in the past, in the last wars, they weren't able to do that, and Johnson only had a 1-seat margin. Well, he did it. And I think that is the theory that they need to be playing now going forward, which is these Republicans are not going to split away from Donald Trump. And that is hard. And that's to tell your voters that even if all of our people stick together and all of their people stick together, it's not going to work.
Well, Democrats at the moment have no real tools with which to fight, given that they're in the minority in both chambers. And this is also playing out in the.
Not only are they the minority, but they are also not united. Right now, we're worried about the leadership. I'm telling you, it's very, very bad times to be a Democrat, unfortunately. But it depends on how you we gotta get up. We gotta get up and do something here and bring ourselves to a place that we've never been before. All of us. Everybody in this country is so full of resources, so full of spirit, and we allow these politicians to hold us down, and I mean that.
Polling, the Democratic Party has hit an all-time low in popularity. In a new NBC News poll, just 27% of respondents view the party positively. For comparison, 39% view Republicans positive.
Just unfavorable, all of them, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, because they all never do what they say they're going to do. And we keep falling for it because they put us up with the Democratic and the Republican choice. That's it. And in order to break that, it would take somebody. What if Trump had run as an independent back? And as I'm sure we've all been speculating and wishing that would have been so different, because his time would have come and gone. But he would have legitimized a party that all these other guys get right up to the end and then fall back. And you know, Bernie Sanders is a hell of a campaigner, but then when he feels it's at the end, he turns around and just breaks bread with Biden and all the people he's been, you know, basically hating the whole time. And we're supposed to just turn it off. The Democrats have to understand that's not the way it goes. This is our real life. It's not a campaign. We really get emotionally caught up in this rhetoric and this stuff that you lead us on. And then when you lose, and then, you know, everybody's like coming to you the next day going, oh, that's all right. It's going to be okay. You know, we're going to push through. And then they just say, yeah, you know, because the country's fundamentally not racist. It's just them, you know, and just keep lying on and on. And I don't know. I just think that maybe some of us may have too much invested in just the Democratic Party, or may not have the passion or the energy or whatever it might take for you to really resist or fight or change or just think differently. But the Democratic Party is not. And I never thought historically that they were the party for us, from, and I'm talking in the last recent history, 60 years, not the party for us. And neither are the Republicans. But we could have got more by lending ourselves to the party that's talking more favorable to us, and on for the rest of our existence here. Just be a group of people who vote in things. If somebody wants us to vote, they have to include us in their bill. They have to include us in the act they're about to do so that we can benefit from it. And we shouldn't have to fight and scrounge for George Floyd acts for black men getting killed. There needs to be a law in the books, and I'm sure it is, and it needs to be enforced. So we don't have to keep naming acts after all these black people that they continue to kill in higher rates. It doesn't take a genius. There's a problem. Something's wrong. And the Democrats are in power when this stuff is happening and in a position to do something. And they're silent as the Republicans. They're talking about gun. Oh, we need to get gun laws. Well, what good is the gun law going to do when you pull someone over on the street and they're dressed in gang attire and they got guns all in the car? How many of them you think is really registered to that guy? Who does that? You guys are doing things that affect law-abiding citizens, not gang members, not people in the street, not white Nazis, not anybody who is not operating on the right side of the law. It ain't gonna matter. I bet they didn't check the guns on those damn Aryan brothers who showed up in that poor little town. They just popped up and went arms, and nobody checked their gun. How do you even do that? This is 2025, you guys. We cannot be stuck in this that we're stuck in. And the Democrats just basically push the pause button while they go over there and fall apart, have a moment, and we're supposed to still be standing here waiting on them when they open the door and come back. We shouldn't be. When they come back, we shouldn't be here. We should be gone.
Positively. So, Tam, how do the Democrats you speak with, how do they read these numbers?
Right. Well, those numbers are pretty terrible all around. I also looked at another number underneath the hood of that poll, which is that 65% of Democratic voters in that poll want Democrats in Congress to stick to their positions, even if that means not being able to get things done.
That's because they believe the country is going to be ended by this president, that this president is intentionally sabotaging our country, our nation, trying to just drag it into nothingness, trying to sell it to Putin. Whatever the Democrats have made its base believe is why they want their people to not participate in any way with it, because it would be compliant to the destruction of the country that we all love. And you shouldn't do that to people. And then when the truth comes out, like I said, and it will, then, we just play like it didn't happen. Well, we got to stop playing like it didn't happen.
In Washington, they want Democrats to fight. The one tool that Democrats in the Senate do have is the filibuster. Yes. The filibuster is still in place, and there are a lot of people who wanted Schumer and Democrats to do the filibuster, to filibuster, to block it, and essentially to say, we're headed for a shutdown if you don't play ball with us. But Schumer, what he is arguing, and one of the Democrats I talked to today said, well, he may have a point. What Schumer is arguing is that if they allowed it to shut down, then Musk and Trump would have gotten what they wanted.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to give them what they want. He's the leader, and he should have gotten with his folks and figured that out in a better way. I got to give it up. Schumer, you blew it. But, it's like sharks in the water. The Democrats, man, when it's times like this, it's just not a shortage of blame to go around. The way they're doing Eric Adams over there in New York, Schumer, okay, he led impeachments and fought for you guys to up to this point to try to do everything he could do to sink Trump. and he's defeated. He lost. And it's almost like he's admitting it in his vote and waving the flag and hoping to move on and just, okay, you won. But the Democrats are like, no, we still want to know. Stop fighting. Start organizing. Start figuring it out. And don't just flail your arms. Make it up. Make sense. And I think Schumer got to that point where he just was like, we lost. And we lost bad. And we need to dig deep. And that's how I feel about it. Maybe it ain't, but the dude is like hiding right now because he's in a real bad place. And he's with a party who is unrelenting. They're refusing. They're what I always looked at the Republicans as being, just that unrealistic tunnel vision no matter what. And now I'm starting to see clearly that it's both of them, both sides. When they're locked in on some shit, Trump had just happened to be riding a wave. Luckily, people are really not even believing this. I know I'm not. Like, damn, he's riding it all the way to the beach, and the Democrats can't believe it either. He has it his way. If Bush and any other Republican could see this full moment, and the younger Bush can, but any other Republican who would be alive, or if there were any, they'd be like, damn, if I had what this dude got. And they don't want to be that outlandish and do the crazy things that Trump is being accused of doing. They just want to govern and get all kind of other things that the government does agree with, and that the Democrats wouldn't say, oh, the country is over, because they kind of in bed on some of those things. So yeah, when you look at a guy who's having it his way like this, this is something to behold right here. And if you think you're going to continue doing what he defeated already, and that's going to be our answer, then I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Given that, Trump 1.0, he did a lot of things, but he's doing, in Trump 2.0, he is cutting, he is doing things, he is blowing past rulings, he's trying novel approaches to the law, you would say, and the Congress the Republican Congress is saying, okay, cool, which means that, Democrats are just in a different position than they were before.
Yeah, and that you can use a filibuster for a different time. This was not the right time to do it, which is also Schumer's point. But to that statistic about Democrats wanting Democrats to fight more, in 2017, that number was much lower. More Democrats said, we want you to work with Trump, not fight him.
Yeah, because back then they weren't telling us that the man was going to end the country as we know it. I mean, we were going to go into a life we never knew, and it was going to be in peril because we elected this. I mean, this last election was crazy. I mean, last time there was a little bit of that going around, but nothing like this last one. Project 2025, it's over with. We're in the final days if this guy gets it. I mean, and then you expect the election to happen and this guy to win, and for him to be accelerating his agenda the way he is, and for Democrats to just be like yawning and not paying attention and locked in. You got people in a panic mode, and that ain't cool. And it would be appropriate for that party, of Democrats, to rein everybody back in and start talking sensibly so that people can see the temperature in the room dropping. And begin to take deep breaths and getting it and not being misled like this. That's messed up.
But you also have to remember that Democratic voters, and quite frankly, all voters, have been told throughout 2024 that Donald Trump, by Democrats, that Donald Trump was an existential threat to this country. If that is your message, if you are saying to people, you got to come out and vote for Democrats because if he wins, he's going to destroy democracy as we know it. And then you go and say, well, actually, we can't use the filibuster here to stop somebody that you think is an existential threat. You can understand why Democratic voters are like, I don't understand why you're not fighting more. Those of us in Washington understand how the politics work, right? In terms of how you get and the procedure and how you get numbers or you don't have enough numbers. But if you run a campaign for the last 8 years on that thesis, you're going to have a disappointed base.
In the meantime, Tam, President Trump continues to see his highest approval ratings ever, according to this same poll. Again, polling is a snapshot in time. He's still underwater, but 47% approve of the job that he's doing. And he...
Damn, that's 3 points off 50%. But polls can be jaded and all that. But you know what? I don't know what to say. He's the president. He's pushing an agenda. It's reality in our lives. The polls, whether they're accurate or inaccurate or whatever any of us might think, the train is moving down the tracks, and the Democrats haven't figured out a way to derail it. So other than going way over the top, but like I'm saying, I just think that's irresponsible when it gets to the point of that kind of rhetoric when you know it's not true. When even at the end of the Kamala thing, if she had turned and said, good luck and been humble and turned it down then, but that we're not ready to let this go. And it's a personal thing with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, not that many years ago, was walking amongst us. He was kind of one of the guys on the outside, like us. And now he's on the inside, and we can't let the politicians who don't want their private little party cracked turn us against everybody from the outside who gets to the inside, especially in a leadership role. It's very easy for them to be turned off by that. Who do he think he is coming in here? Until he ain't no politician. He don't know decorum. He don't know the way we do things in our protocol. Of course he doesn't. But he's going to make it his way where he is comfortable. And because you guys as politicians on the Republican and on the Democratic side have failed, that's why this is possible. Thank you. Thank you, by the way.
He has a 55% approval rating on his handling of immigration. And the White House is already using polling like this as cover to say that, what they're doing on immigration, deporting these Venezuelan migrants without due process, that this is what the American people want, and this is what the American people voted for.
Right, and Caroline Levitt tweeted out a video of those Venezuelans on a tarmac in El Salvador and said the American people voted for this. She said, we are unafraid to double down, and they are unafraid to double down. That is exactly what they are doing, and they believe that they have a mandate.
More to come. Tamara Keith, Amy Walter, thank you both.
Yeah, very level-headed journalist there. I appreciate that kind of stuff only because it does give you a different approach and a different way of looking at it, and not to be so on the edge of your seats that the tariffs are going to ruin the world. And this, I think presidents in the United States, and I've said it for quite a while, don't get a long enough term. 5 years wouldn't be long enough, but maybe 6. I don't know, but 4 years just isn't long enough. And they just set that up, I believe, to safeguard the country so that nobody can do too much. Because, Jesus Christ, in 60 days, look at this man. What would he do in 6 years or 8 years or 10 years? And thank God that there was Biden maybe in the middle to slow things down. If you believe that Trump's going into too much of an uncharted water, but we've been put into a system that we're so comfortable with that anything feels uncomfortable. And it's our nature to be a little unsettled by things like that. So it don't mean that he's right or he's wrong. It just means that it's how we're responding to it. We're responding out of fear. We're responding out of resistance. We're responding with misinformation provided at the hands of the Democratic Party. Thanks, Democrats. Like, comment, share, and please subscribe. And we'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.